Hello and welcome to another episode of The Roundhouse. We're here with your panelists. I'm Garrett Zatlin. I'm going to be moderating the special edition for Districts Week coming up. And let's introduce our three panelists. We've got panelists all from District 1, District 3, and District 7 representing. We'll start off with Sean Collins. Sean, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Skipping Survivor to finale tonight. Old teammate from Penn is in the final, so hope she wins.
Yeah, and even teammate with Tommy Awad, also making the Olympic standard there. So very cool there. Evan Hatton, how we doing, bud? D7 represent.
I am doing pretty well. I just stay a few minutes late at work, so I'm not super happy about that, but I am here now.
And we couldn't be happier. All right, and finally, Jarrett Felix, how we doing, bud?
I'm doing well. I'm actually feeling a lot like Drake right now because everybody only wants to talk to me about views.
Wow. All I gotta say, it was better than last week. I'll give you that. But with that, let's just hop right in. So we're going to start off actually by talking about conferences last week. So let's finish that sentence. That's the segment we're going to go with here. The most impressive performance from conferences this past week was by who? Sean, we'll start with you.
Sam Signor, 9:33, 3,200, led the mile for 1,200, went 4:22 for sixth, and he had a monster 4x4 split right after the 32. Probably ran sub 50. I think that was my most impressive out of the Mid-Penn meet.
Yeah, you certainly don't hear a lot about the guys, the low-name guys like that. So it's good to see, someone step up and get a big time. Jarrett, what do you got?
Well, I'm going to go with a name that we've heard a decent amount already. I'm going to go with Nate Henderson over at the Lebanon Lancaster. Just going out there with his team. They were going after kind of like a league title and won the 3,200, won the 1,600, both close races, which I think was interesting because the big talk with Nate not that long ago was about questioning his kick and how he was going to be able to handle these close competitive races, and two races that came kind of right down to the wire, especially that 1,600, which was decided by only a couple tenths of a second. He won both of them, so it shows that he's pretty sharp tactically going into districts and states, so could be a sign of things to come.
Definitely, he certainly had a big season after his Penn Relays 3K, so definitely a name to watch. And Evan Hatton, what do you have, man?
I am going to go Tucker Desco. Has not done, hasn't made, a whole lot of noise. Obviously, he's very, very good, but hasn't done a ton this outdoor season. But solid 155, 419 double. I'm assuming he was on that 4x8 as well. Going for the double as well at districts, going Desco.
I've been a big fan of Desco for a while. I've actually liked him to run well this past indoor season. I maybe said he was a gold medalist against the Hoies, but I was also wrong. So big fan, though, big fan. All right, and on to the next one. We're actually going to be talking about D2, District 2. That's already finished up and ended. So Matt Kravitz, he had a great race over there. So despite a 1,600 PR of 4:17, Matt Kravitz has decided to run the 3,200 all in at States. Evan, back to you. What do you think about that?
I'm going to call it gutsy. It's a very gutsy move. A lot of guys in the 32 field have PRs in that 4:17 range, but then there's also guys that are faster. And especially with as deep as the 2-mile is this year, it's a gutsy move. Obviously, he's a great 2-miler. The 9:18 was awesome. But I think it's a gutsy move.
Fair enough. Sean, what do you got to say about that?
I'm going to say it's perplexing. The 4:17 pretty much puts him in the hunt for a medal if he runs that, even a second slower. could medal. If he runs 9:18 in the 2 mile like he did at districts, that's probably sitting you at 12th. So hopefully the leg speed turns out well. Maybe they go out slow in the 32 and it comes down to who can run the fastest last mile and not who runs the fastest 32, but it's perplexing.
That's a fair assessment. We don't always look at the tactical side of races, so that is a very good point. And Jared Felix, what do we have here?
I'm going to go with the word brilliant. I think it's a brilliant idea. Personally, he's already run under 9:20 twice this year. Both of those races, he absolutely dominated those fields. With all due respect to those fields, he won going away in both those races. He hasn't been pushed to his absolute limits yet. This kid has the speed to close down, but he also has the strength, as we saw during cross-country season. He finished third at AA States, was the top PA runner at Paul Short. He's underrated drastically, and his 800 PR is only around 158, 159. So that indicates to me that he doesn't have the same top-end speed as these guys who can run 154 in the open mile. But in the 32, he doesn't need to necessarily have that. So I think it's a very smart move, and he could potentially upset the whole field.
Wow, already we're going with bold picks by Jared Felix. But all right, good word usage overall. I appreciate that, guys. And now we're going to move on to the next segment of buy or sell, and we're actually going to get into where our district representatives get to speak here. So buy or sell, guys. Josh Hoey is the heaviest favorite, meaning he is by far the biggest favorite to win in a D1 distance race. Sean, what do you got?
I guess I have to buy it. You look at the 800 field, and it's 5 guys within a second of each other. And you look at the 32, Brophy probably should be the biggest favorite, but he just doesn't seem like it this year, so you have to give it to Hoey. He absolutely crushed the Penn Relays mile. He's only entered in the 16. He's not going to be worrying about 4x8. I think he's the heaviest favorite.
It's a fair point. Jarrett, do we have a counter argument there?
Personally, I'm going to go with Brophy. I think that you can make an argument for either of these guys, I think. But I think Brophy is about to turn it up a notch. I think he knows that he didn't have his best day at Penn Relays. He got beat by some guys. Now there were some doubts, but he absolutely destroyed the 3200 at their league meet, running 9:15 for a meet record, which I thought was a pretty impressive performance, and I think it might be a sign of things to come. Plus, I think a lot of the guys closest to him on the performance list right now are going to scratch it ultimately. So I think that he's the biggest favorite.
Fair enough. All right. And Evan Hatton. And don't forget, we can include a 4x8 in here unless you think otherwise.
I'm going to say Hoey is the heavy favorite as well. Just like you look at the 800, like Sean said, a lot of those guys in the mile as well. Maybe they're going to have that 800 in the back of their mind. Quite a few guys in the 32 as well. Same deal. Hoey, one race, one and done. I take him as the favorite.
Good points all around. I'll be interested to see if anyone else thinks that way in the comments section. All right, on to the next buy or sell. It's actually our last buy or sell. This is a relatively quick segment for us today. Matt Wisner of Carlisle. The guy dominates, he wins, but is he still the 800 favorite for District 3, despite Darren Click having a faster seed time by a little less than a second? I think we'll go Jarrett. We'll start with Jarrett on this one.
I'm going to say that he's not the favorite, actually. I know that he's put up some really strong numbers at States. He's delivered at States more than any of these guys have, considering that he was second indoors and ran 153 low last outdoors. But he is going to be really busy, and if you look at the schedule, the Carlisle guys are all over the place, which I think, they're trying to win a district title. So, you gotta score points in what you're strong at. But Wisner's going to run the 32 on Friday, and then if he runs the 4x8 and then the open 8 and then the 4x4, he's going to have a really busy schedule. And we've seen him recently when he's been doubling or tripling. He has been defeated by some guys like Alex Milligan at Shippensburg and then some other guys at Mid-Penn. Milligan again winning that race. But so he's vulnerable. I mean, Darren Click came out of nowhere to run 154 and dominate Lebanon Lancaster. This guy, I mean, I'd never heard of him before, and now the more I look into him, he looks like somebody that could just catch fire at the right time and do some big things down the stretch.
Momentum does play a big key, especially in the postseason. So, Evan, what do you got?
I'm going to say Wisner. I'm going to buy on him. I say all the time that experience is going to win 99% of the time. He's proven himself at states. He's proven himself on the big stage. I just can't see him losing.
That's a fair assessment. Sometimes talent's talent. And, of course, we've got Carlisle District 3 Representative Sean. You're the biggest opinion here.
So he's my teammate. I have to buy here. So Jared was talking about coming off the double. The 32 is the night before. I really don't think the 32 has had a big effect on people's legs coming into in those first races in the morning. If you look at Mid-Penn's, he ran the 4x8, then the mile, raced great in the mile to win. That's kind of where that 800 is. As we're looking at the double triple, we can debate how he's going to do on the 4x4, as it'll be his third race that day. But I think 4x8 to 800, there's way more time there is at Mid-Penn's. And I think it's really tough to pick against somebody who's going to be in a team title hunt that late, where Darren Click's going to be running for his SQS. 2 points could make a huge difference for Carlisle, so I think you have to pick Wisner.
It's a fair assessment, and I really can't blame you with going with your teammate. So, all right, good points all around. And we're actually going to head into the next segment. This one have a couple more than just two. And we're actually going to go talk about District 12. We just saw them wrap up their 3,200 today. And we had Lavolsi and Morrow qualifying for states. Lavolsi running about 9:27, I believe, and Morrow running 9:31 to take the top two spots. Guys, O'Hara and LaSalle, who's going to have more state qualifiers? Evan, you.
Ooh, this was a tough one. I am going to say O'Hara. They have all their DMR pieces who can all qualify individually. They already got Morrow in the 32. I bet James makes it in the 16. So I'm absolutely going to go with O'Hara.
They are a powerhouse, but LaSalle does have a lot of depth. Jarrett, what do you got?
This was a tough one, like Evan said. I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to say they are going to have the same amount. So I am kind of dodging the question, admittedly, but I'm going to say they break even. They were even in the 3,200. Shout out to Lavolsi for having an awesome race to win that 32. That was pretty impressive. I think the 1,600 is going to be the kind of the make or break event because my guess is going to be that all the top guys from both teams are going to run that race, especially, Ryan James doesn't have the qualifier in the 32, so if he wants to go for an individual event, that's his best chance. His brother Patrick James was actually a qualifier in this event last year, so he's run around 425, so he's close to the SQS. Then you have Patrick Grant and Evan Addison from LaSalle. And the tiebreaker could end up being Justin Jones in the 800, who I think is going to make it, but I think it's going to be one O'Hara miler, Jones in the 800, and then two LaSalle milers. That's my pick.
Bold move, Jarrett Felix. Man, just playing with the numbers. All right, and Sean, well, what do we got?
So I got to pick LaSalle here and round it out. I really think the depth there is going to be the huge factor. O'Hara might have the most qualifying spots, but I think LaSalle gets the most different people into the meet. Because I think Morrow and James are going to James is going to get in the 16. I think Morrow just might stay with the 32. Might go 1-2 and then drop it for states. And then the 4x8 would be Jones, Morrow, and James. So then you're going to have probably 4 or 5 different guys from LaSalle with that huge XC depth coming through and getting the more individual spots, especially getting 4x8 through.
It is a tough decision, but man, that was split pretty equally down the line because Jarrett Felix decides he just doesn't want to commit. Man, yeah. All right. We're moving on.
It's ironic to say that I don't want to commit.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. In case you haven't heard yet, Jarrett Felix is now engaged, so congratulate him on the blog or Twitter.
Congratulations, Jarrett.
Yeah. Congratulations, Jarrett. Anyways, we're going to move on back to District 1. Surprising note that we actually just saw with District 1 heat sheets, Jackson Hoey is not running the mile, but he is running the 800. Interesting development here. So with him now running the 800, who is the favorite to win the 800 in total? We'll start with Jarrett.
This is a tricky question. I think it's going to be an awesome race. Really exciting. I'm going to go with Tucker Desco as the favorite / my personal pick. Evan talked about it earlier, how strong this guy's been this year. I'm kind of banking on him not running the 16, only running the 4x8 and the open 8, which is a much more doable double. And I think that based on what I've seen from him, indoors and outdoors, he's run a lot of 154, 155 type times, and a 153 indoors at nationals. He's won a lot of races, which I think is key. And I think that when he gets pushed at this district meet, which is loaded, we're going to see something pretty impressive from him down around maybe 153, 152, and I think that's enough to win.
Fair enough. Tucker Desco, again, a favorite of mine. He's headed to the University of Oklahoma next year. Sean, who do you have here?
I don't think it's Hoey. I would pick Liam Conway, but I don't think he's going to run it either. So that leaves me with the top returner from District 1 from the state meet last year, and that's Brett Wolfiger. He ran great in the state final. If it's coming down to a race like this, experience is going to matter. That's the only thing he's going to be doing, and I have to trust him there. So go Quakertown.
Wow, that is a bold move, but that's a great name because I don't think he's gotten enough love this season. Still, runs 155, so good pick. I'm liking the pick. Evan, you're on the other side.
All right, 800 this year. Oh, real quick, shout out to Paul Beat. I don't know why you're watching this. You're not from Pennsylvania, and you live like a mile that way, so hi, buddy. All right, 800. I think probably 5 of the top 10 guys in AAA right now are not going to run the 800. I don't think Mike Kohler's going to run it. I don't think Hoey's going to run it. I don't think Conway's going to run it. So I think Alex Milligan from State College, obviously very established miler, but really good 800 guy. Honestly, I think he could probably run something in the 151 range. So I'd love to give it to Jackson Hoey because he's so good at states, but I'm going to give it to Milligan.
Okay, so I hate to be that awkward guy here. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong here. I thought we were just talking about District 1. I don't know if I made that clear.
Oh, I thought we were doing states.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, dude. Well, to be fair, I like Milligan. But real quick, if you had to give me a District 1 guy to win districts.
I don't know, probably Desco.
Desco? There you go. All right, well, Alex Milligan, shout out, dude. You know what? He likes you that much. He's calling you a week ahead of time, so we'll take it there. So, all right, on to the next one. the District 7 3200. It's going to be really interesting. Probably one of the deepest and closest races. And, in terms of seed time, it's actually, one of the, faster than D1 or D3, which is, not always been the case historically. Sean, what do you have here? Who's going to win that race?
So I think it'd be a pretty easy pick to take Nick Wolk. He was really strong in XC, has a top seed time 9:12. But I think Jake Susela is going to come out of nowhere. He's run 9:19. Fantastic. Noe's talking about him, and he didn't have the best cross-country season that he's had. So I think that he's going to come around and finish off his senior year with the district title in 32.
Sean Collins calling the bold moves today, but for respectable guys here, so I can't blame him. Jarrett Felix, what we got?
I will say that this 3200 vaguely reminds me of one of Evan's personal favorite races, the Paul DiGregorio 3200 from a couple years back, where he surprised the North Hills trio and all those guys and ended up stealing the 32. That being said, I think Nick Wolk's going to win. I think he's been the best in D7 all year. D7 competition has struggled to beat him. I think that continues since he's fresh and focused on the 32.
All right. And finally, Evan Hatton, the D7 representative. Dude, this is the big opinion of yours. It counts here.
All right. Jarrett brought up something that I was going to bring up anyways, and that was my favorite race I've ever seen in person. 2011 3200 at Whitfields. Paul DeGregorio on his home track, by the way, just like a 30-second last 200 to destroy Zach Hebda in the last 100, who was heavy favorite, wound up getting second at States the next week. Year after that, Andrew Kukta, his senior year, same thing. He wins it on his home track. Casey Conboy from Baldwin, big breakout year this year on his home track. This is the biggest upset I've ever called. I'm going to take Conboy.
Wow, you guys are certainly not disappointing.
I love you, Todd, by the way.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, man.
You were waiting for it, but I wasn't gonna do it.
I was waiting for it, and Evan Hatton really surprised me here. To be fair, I do like Todd Gunzenhauser. That's not because he's a fan of the blog. It's because I think he's low key. He ran a great state performance last year. Someone to watch out for. So, but wow. Evan Hatton, going bold here.
I have to take history. I'm sorry. I love you, Todd. I'll see you in a couple weeks.
We're going to move on to the next question here, but we're staying in District 7. The 4x8, there's really no clear favorite. I believe the fastest seed is Norwin at 8:04. Guys, who's going to win? Jarrett, start us off.
This is going to be a really fun race. I think it's pretty wide open. This is tough. I think the traditional pick is probably North Allegheny. They've got a lot of pieces. They've got a couple sub-2 guys, and they also have Stupak and maybe even Migliozzi will run. But I'm going to go just in the spirit of the way things have been going. I'm going to go with Greensburg-Salem for the win. I think this is a team that's kind of been a little under the radar. They were AA during Cross. They have a lot of really good pieces. They got to put it together on race day, but I think they're going to be focused and committed to this relay with their top guys, and I think they're going to pull out an upset in a really close race.
All right, fair answer there. Evan, I'm going back to you. D7, what do you got?
I'm going to go with Char Valley. This was the team that, when I was in high school, they were just kind of like a walk all over them team. They were never good at anything. But this year, they have the pieces to be good. They have a huge breakout star in Joseph Westrick. He's run 9:20 this year, and I know he's on that 4x8, and he's splitting really solid times. So I'm going to go with Char Valley. They ran the fastest seed at the qualifiers, and I think they're going to carry that momentum on to the final.
Evan Hatton, keeping it real. I'm liking it. And I believe, Sean, you're the last one here.
So I can't say that I know a whole bunch about this race, but I'm going to pick Franklin Regional. Mark Crevenzo's had a great season in 16 and the 32, and they have two guys qualified in the Open 800, Matt Bush and Zane Flynn. I think that those guys all realize they're kind of on the outs on whether they're going to qualify in the individual events. They're probably in that 6 to 10 range, so they might get a medal you don't know, and that they're really going to go after this 4x8. Maybe they don't win. They're definitely top three. I think they're really all in here, so that's where I've got to go.
I'm loving the picks all around. They're great picks, diverse. Not too many of them have been the same. So this is going to be set up for a very interesting district week. We'll have to come back and look at who picked who. On to now into the later portion. React to this. That's what we're calling this segment, and it's only just one question here. We have an update and information that Cooper Leslie of Camp Hill, AA, in District 3, so kind of going back to Sean's region here, he is going to forego the 800, and he will attempt the 3200, the 1600, the 4x8, and the 4x4 quadruple at districts. Just absolutely insane, and I got to go right back to the District 3 representative. Sean, just react to this. What are your thoughts on this?
So what? So what? He was the best seed in the mile by about 10 seconds. He's the best seed in the 3200 by 10 seconds. And their 4x8 needs to go top two, and so does their 4x4. They're going to get the job done in the 800, and he needs to go after this triple for them to have a shot at beating Missing in the team title. They are strong in the distance events, and having him and Andrew Snyder to get on that 4x4 is going to be huge for a team title when they don't have the big field events where Missing does. So I kind of expected this. 32 the night before, 4x8, 16, 4x4. Maybe like to see him do the 8th or the 16th, but I think this is a better event come state, so that's why he's there.
Sean Collins, telling it like it is. Sticking it to the man. I love it. All right, Evan, we're heading to you, man. What do you got? React to this.
All right, I'm going to use a word that I have used before today, and I'm going to say gutsy. That's a lot of running. That's, almost 4 miles of running in a day. That's a lot of racing. Like he's a fantastic runner. I think that he will succeed in this, but it's very gutsy, especially with teams like Sean said with Missing. Especially in the 4x8, he's going to have to run hard, and that's a tough way to start your day. So, but it's gutsy, but I think it's going to work out for him.
It is going to be a very difficult one, but he is very talented. Jarrett, what do you got?
Well, my first reaction is better him than me because I would not survive that quadruple. But I will say that they're trying to win a team title, and that's not only at districts but at states. So you got to kind of pick the races that you think you can maximize points in. The 4x4 they see as an important event. They're going in on that. There's some really good talent in the 800. Maybe the 32 is a little more wide open. He's going to be busy, but this guy's been tripling and quadrupling all season, so he's been training for this. So we'll see what happens. Better him than me.
Sean, did you want to add something?
So Jared pointed out right at the end, he's been doing this his entire career. Doubling and tripling is a lot more common in AA. Think about all the people who have done it at states, districts. I think this is going to be a lot more doable for him than it is for if a AAA guy was doing it, we'd have a different talk.
Okay, interesting. All right, before we wrap up, did anyone want to react to that? No? All right, we'll move on then. Okay, and on to our last segment. We have 2 questions here, and it's called Bold Predictions. The first one, we're going to start with Jared on this. What 4x8 during district week, from any district, it can be 1 through 12, what 4x8 will break 8 minutes that hasn't broken it yet? Jared.
So I'm going to go with In some ways, it's an obvious team. In some ways, it's not. I'm going to go with Westchester Henderson. I think that this is a team that's ready to break out in the 4x8. If you saw their times in the 600 recently, they had, I think, something like 8 guys between 129 and 124-ish in the 600, with the top guys like 124, 125, 125, 127. I think those are the pieces to break A minutes if they have the right day. It's a pretty young team, but it's also a pretty fast team. You look at their 4x4 times that they've put up, they're pretty fast. They got a lot of speed. I'm hoping it translates to the 4x8.
Yeah, and interesting to note that Spencer Smucker was actually pretty sick earlier this year, so he's starting to rebound. This could be the week that he comes back and lays down a big split for that relay. I'm liking that pick there. Evan, what do you got?
Talked about him earlier. Staying with the South Hills of Pittsburgh, going Char Valley. Like I said earlier, Joseph Westrick, very good. They have a freshman this year who's run 2:01, and that is big. And they have multiple other guys in the 2:04 range. But I think it's their time to just kind of break out of that and just go all out, start their day off strong, calling them like 7:59.99999, something in that range.
Evan has a lot of strength in Char Valley here, so they better come through here. And finally, Sean, who you got?
So I'd have to give you the scoop on District 3. I think Cedar Crest is going to come running after Carlisle. They've only run 8:02 this year. Jesse Cruz is the last of the Cruz brothers, I think. Cedar Crest has had kind of a dynasty in that 4x8. I don't think they've been worse than top 3 maybe in the last 5 years. Someone correct me if I'm wrong later today. I can't imagine them not going sub-8. If they don't go sub-8, that means that probably only one team in District 3 is going sub-8, and that just doesn't seem right to me. I think Cedar Crest they're going for it.
Good points all around. That is a very underrated, and that's a great relay. So everyone representing their own districts here on that question. I'm liking it. And the final question that we have here, or the final statement in this case, blank will upset blank this weekend. Bold predictions, that's the segment. Evan, what do you got?
All right, well, I talked about it earlier, and I don't think I can get much bolder than this. So I'm going to go back to my Casey Conboy over Nick Wolk pick. Nick Wolk is going to be fresh. I think Casey Conboy, I'm pretty sure, is on their 4x8, but I think he's still going to get it done. Shout out to the 412. I'm going to take Casey Conboy.
I read Pittsburgh as well. Pittsburgh over Philly all day. I'm not even like trying to be sarcastic. So I'm not even being sarcastic to the viewers. Like, you know, Philly's not a great place. I just made a lot of enemies. But Sean, help me out here.
The upset will be David Snyder out of Hollidaysburg area will upset State College in the mile. He ran 4:23 at Shippensburg. He also ran 6:30 in the 2K steeple. I think that State College is probably going to be in the double and triple. Milligan's probably going to skip the mile like he did last year, maybe go 32-800 4x8. He's got as good of a shot at anyone to beat anyone in that district. Had to give some love to District 6.
Sean Collins going on his way from District 6. I'm liking the pick. Jarrett Felix, wrap it up for us.
I'm going to step into Evan's backyard. I'm going with Isaiah Bailey of Penn Hills over Kohler and Bove in the 800. He skipped out on the 1600, focusing all in on that open 8. Got a pretty famous last name from Penn Hills. Bailey, you talk about Will Bailey, who won states in the 800. You look at Brandon Bailey, who was a top 400 runner. I assume there's some relation. I can't say for sure, but good genes, really fast runner, and I think tired legs from some of the other guys, he can jump in and steal it.
I'm liking it overall, especially because my dad's from Penn Hill, so that's a great pick. Guys, these were great picks overall. I really don't want to give a winner here, but I am going to have to give it to Evan Hatton. Evan, here's your FaceTime, dude. Tell us what you want to tell us.
Oh, I wish I had prepared something. I don't know. I'm just going to... All right. Shout out to everyone who has read the blog just over the years. Jarrett started something fantastic when I was still in elementary school, and we have created a dynasty between the two blogs. We're really close to 1 million views overall, and that's awesome. And I love being a part of it, so we'll go with that. Also, shout out Todd Gunzenhauser. You're the homie.
Shout out to Todd Guns, and also shout out to whoever left that very nice comment on the blog. That was awfully nice of you. We appreciate that. Thank you. So, well, that's all we got here. We do not have an Alex Fox, Nicki Minaj quote for you today, but we'll have to leave it at that. Guys, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you later.